Good evening, viewer. You're most welcome to the Nilecast on Westnile television, where we give you the weekly news highlights of the week every Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. My name is Ukumaringa Christine. Let's dive straight into the stories that made news throughout the week. The leaders and concerned citizens of the Acholi sub-region are worried and are calling upon the central government and the Ministry of Presidency to intervene on the rampant turnover of the accounting officer and resident district commissioners, which is negatively impacting on service delivery in the district. Stephen Okello from Gulu reports more.
The leaders in Noya district are worried on the negative impact of rampant turnover of the accounting officers and the RDCs on service delivery in the district.
In the last 2 years alone, slightly beyond 2 years, we have had 4 chief administrative officers. Each one coming for 6 months, transferred, sometimes even less transferred. We have had also about 3 to 4 RDCs. Each of them coming, some dropped, some transferred, like that. Omara is the latest RDC, and I think Josephine is the latest cow. And you should also know that there is already a question, and also the cow may soon be moved.
Noya East Member of Parliament Geoffrey Okello believes that it is corruption fighting back Omara after he exposes several corruption scandals in the district.
Is that the council wanted to succeed, that RDC Omara is frustrating. What is it? According to RDC Omara, he feels that he is just being molested, being fought because of fighting corruption. And yes, corruption fights back, and it can be understood as such, that it is corruption fighting back. And for him, he also gives evidence, because he has arraigned people, because he has forced people to return money. Yes, because now he is forcing councillors to return bicycles.
Did these councillors take into account why Omara appointees is quiet during all these processes before coming up with such unlawful council resolutions? Okello wonders.
I would also invite the councillors to reflect. If RDC Omara is doing what it's doing and the appointing authority is quiet, what does it mean? It might simply mean the appointing authority is comfortable with what he's doing, because he's just not a civil servant, but he's also a cadre civil servant. It brings a question. Supposing the appointing authority does nothing to remove RDC, what will happen?
Justin Obol cautioned Ministry of Presidency to come on ground and verify the act of these councillors, because it seems they are sugarcoating some of the dirt on service delivery in Noya district.
All these leaders who resolved for the removal of the RDC were actually implicated in swindling bicycle men for LC1s. That means they're actually fighting back, that they have been exposed to the rest of Ugandans, that Noya actually have political leaders who are self-centered, who are money-minded, and anybody who is going to fight corruption in Noya will be fought.
Udong Geoffrey Ojivo says Noya District Council must stop misusing their power to pass self-centered council resolutions.
In any case, if money is lost, finally money is found to be lost in this complaint. And here, council is making a resolution that it should be transferred. Who will be looked at as somebody sabotaging government program? Would be the council.
On April 20th, 2023, Noya District, on alleged act of promotions of sectarism, corruptions and inciting the masses against political leaders. In the district councillors passed a council resolution seeking the approval of the appointing authority to remove or transfer the current resident district commissioner of Noya district, Mr. Omara Christopher. Stephen Okello for Westnile TV, Nilecast.
And more in our stories for the evening. Following the recent fatal accident that led to the death of a Finca employee at Vura Sub-County in Arua District, the Arua City Traffic Police investigations found that the Congolese nationals that crossed into Uganda do not follow the Ugandan traffic regulations, which in turn leads to increase in traffic accidents in the region. The Westnile Police spokesperson Josephine Anguchia is urging the Congolese nationals that cross into Uganda to abide by the Uganda traffic laws. Let's have more on that story.
Traffic police attached to Arua Central Police Station are investigating an incident of fatal accident where the one called Apang Emmanuel, male adult, Lubara by tribe, an employee of Finca Uganda Limited, Arua branch, was allegedly knocked by a motor vehicle with the Congo number plate. And this motor vehicle happens to be fuel tanker with the registration number CGO 2875AA07/0928BB, Mercedes Benz, driven by unknown driver, who is currently on the run. According to the information we got, this motor vehicle carrying fuel left its lane and knocked the rider of the motorcycle with registration number UFT 704W Bajaj Boxer red in color, hence killing the rider Apang Emmanuel on spot. So this occurred on 20th April 2023 at about 2:30 p.m. at Ochoko Trading Center along Arua Nebi Highway. So immediately after getting information about this incident, our traffic team rushed to the scene. They conveyed the body to Arua Regional Referral Hospital, where postmortem was done at the mortuary and the body handed over to relatives. And the burial has been done on Sunday, 23rd April 2023. So as I speak, the motor vehicle has been parked at URA parking yard in Vura, and it is loaded with diesel fuel. Meanwhile, the motorcycle is parked at Arua Central Police Station pending inspection by the Inspector of Vehicles. Preliminary investigations indicate cause of this accident to be reckless driving by the driver of the motor vehicle bearing Congo number plate. And according to further inquiries got, the manager of that company supplying fuel reported to traffic police at Arua Central Police Station, and he said that the driver of this very vehicle is a Congolese by nationality called Lemi Leke Augustine, and he hails from Arua in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So as I speak, our inquiries are ongoing. The men of these Congolese who enter into our country forget to follow Ugandan traffic regulations. So some of them, while driving on our roads, tend to forget our own regulations and they follow Congo traffic regulations of keeping right instead of keeping left. So that's the reason why we are having some of these accidents. Another one also occurred along for a custom Rua road where a policeman was knocked by a Congolese who had a numberless motorcycle. But with that one, investigations are yet ongoing. So with this, we advise our neighbors from DRC or South Sudan to abide by the traffic regulations of Uganda. When they are on our land, they should keep left. That is for drivers and riders, instead of keeping right, and they should be careful with that because they tend to forget, and that's why they end up knocking people on the road. So when they are on our road, they should keep left and they should abide by all other necessary traffic regulations in order to avoid accidents on our road.
And more in our stories for the evening. On Monday, police in Kampala arrested 7 pre-medical interns who were protesting against the delayed commencement of their internship and detained them at Wandegea police station. The protests came at a time when Ugandans are leading a social media campaign dubbed Uganda Health Exhibition to expose the critical issues affecting the health sector. Let's have more on that story.
Get them! Get them! Come on, what?
We are fighting for you. We are peaceful. We are peaceful. We are peaceful. We are fighting for you. We are fighting for you. We are fighting for you. We are fighting. We are supposed to be in hospitals working. We have sat for almost a year. We are just here doing nothing. We finished our degrees. I'm a doctor. What of what is we are compensated. I was a degree in medicine and surgery. I was one of the best students in this country. But look at what I've become now. I have to fight for the A peaceful demonstration, no. A peaceful demonstration, no. Hearing our song, hearing our cries, saving mothers, saving fathers, saving refugees, deployment of interns, working goal.
And more in our stories for the evening. The High Court in Kampala dismissed the High Court in Kampala dismissed with all cost parliamentary petition filed by Fred Nyanzi Sentamu contesting the victory of Muhammad Nsereko as a member of parliament for Kampala Central Division. The petition has been dismissed by the High Court Judge Jesse Biaruhanga on the grounds that Nyanzi failed to produce evidence proving that the allegations of bribery and ballot stuffing. Nyanzi was accused Nyanzi was accusing the lawmaker of convening with the electoral body to commit several irregularities. Let's have more on that story.
Bestows justice on those that he so wishes. God treats us all fairly. Indeed, this has been seen as a wastage of time. From inception, everything was brought in bad faith, not because victory was there. I remember asking many times, if someone says there was something at Summit View where I lost, what is the intention of that person? Because you said there was rigging at a military garrison where I lost. So what is the intention of that person? Look at the areas where all the voting patterns were done in the rightful order in their entire constituency. It was not done in anyone's favor. It was the will of the people of Kampala. We shall continue to do our work as legislators. Nothing shall deter us. We thank our voters. We thank our supporters. We thank our people. But to our countrymen outside there, the expectations you have in us is service delivery. For the people who pay taxes in Kampala, not to see potholes, that when we stand on the floor of Parliament, that we challenge people based on facts and state the facts categorically clear, like we did during the budget speech, that our people pay much tax and you get the money and expend it elsewhere. At the end of the day, we cannot reap what we've not worked for. Secondly, it is true that we've gone through a rigorous process, but justice has been served. To those that have lost today, hope is not over for you. If you indeed want to serve the people of Kampala, go to them. Probably they'll vote for you. But if you still insist on playing politics of cat and mouse and this, of trying to mud-sling people for individual benefits, it will not work. Very patient with their insults. We've been very patient with whatever they do against us. But at times humanity runs out of patience. I'll not discuss the matter of costs today, because I don't know how much costs have been computed. I don't know what we will come up with. I think the most important substance is how we represent the people.
And more in our stories for the evening. The Arua City Service Commission has come out to refute malicious and baseless allegations of irregular and unethical recruitment procedures during the recent recruitment of 316 jobs in Arua City. Some of the allegations state that job applicants should pay a sum of 600,000 shillings for job security and offer sexual intercourse for job security. These remarks were made in a press briefing organized by the board members of the Arua City Service Commission at Arua Hill Division headquarters in Arua City. Let's have more on that story. Today, the 25th of April 2023, at the former Arua Hill Division headquarters in Arua City, the Arua City Service Commission conducted interviews for primary school teachers in Arua City.
We did put up adverts for jobs on the 19th December 2022. We gave the public 1 complete month to prepare themselves and submit the application to City Service Commission office. In total, we received 4,000 plus application letters for 316 jobs advertised. We started interviewing our successful applicants who were shortlisted on the 4th of April 2023. If all other things remain constant, I think we will finish interviews around the 10th or 11th of May. This interview we are undertaking is not a question of automatic promotion. We have 150 vacancies for teachers, primary teachers, 150. We are ready to recruit people for 150 positions. But friends, do you know how many people applied for that 150? When we did the shortlisting, we shortlisted 948. 948 people for 150 vacancies. So anybody going outside their career, I have done an interview, they are saying I should give them that, I should give money because I am through those lies.
The chairperson board of directors of Arua Service Commission, Ajo Knight, stated that there are malicious and baseless accusations of irregular and unethical recruitment procedures by the Service Commission that has tarnished the name of the Arua City Service Commission.
Now, after the shortlist was put up, we started getting a lot of calls from people. The people who were shortlisted got to be shortlisted after they had paid some money to City Service Commission. Number two, it was alleged that the City Service Commission, shortlisted people who did not qualify, left out the qualified and then shortlisted the unqualified. Allegation number three was that Arua City Service Commission shortlisted candidates for places they did not.
The chairperson has sounded a firm warning to those who are tarnishing the name of the Arua City Service Commission to desist or face the long arm of the law.
What is happening outside there is people know how desperate our people are, and as a result, they are not taking money from these people. They are pretending to be members of City Service Commission. They are asking 600,000 per person for a job. They zeroed down on some 30 people and they requested each of these 30 people to pay them 600,000. So we are here to refute those allegations and telling you that we condemn it in the strongest terms. We have never taken money from anybody as a City Service Commission. And I want to say we will never take money from anybody as a City Service Commission. And I am here to tell everybody, if it is true, you have given your money to somebody in the name of the City Service Commission, these are officers are open. I sound a very stern warning to people who are mudslinging us outside there. We are not happy about it. People are asking for money. People are asking for sex. That's when we got the number, we can know the person. Sex. I will talk to these people and you will be in the province. Very ugly things are going on because of somebody wanting to get a job. I know City Service Commission is not part of those things. We dissociate ourselves from that.
The Arua City Service Commission put out an advert for 316 jobs on the 19th of December 2022, received over 4,000 application letters, and is expected to finish interviews for the successful shortlisted candidates on the 10th of May 2023. Okumuringa Christine for Westnile Television, Nilecast. And more in our stories for the evening. Arua City has expressed disappointment on the delays made by the Ministry of Local Government headed by Honorable Raphael Magezi on the guidelines on asset sharing between Arua City and Arua District, that the Arua District Town Clerk Paul Batanda stated that the delays are affecting service delivery. Let's have more on that story.
When it comes to asset sharing, the mandate is given to the Minister of Local Government. That's number one. And the Minister of Local Government, using the Local Government Act, CAP 245, it gives him powers to guide the mother district and the sister district on how these properties can be shared. So, when the cities were created in 2020, the 10 cities, we were guided that we shall get guidance on how to share these assets. But specifically for the issue of Arua, indeed, the Arua district has the road equipment, and we have brought it up with the Minister of Local Government. The last time we had an engagement with Minister of Local Government, and more specifically His Worship the Mayor, the Minister guided that a team is going to come from the Ministry of Local Government to visit Hoima City and to visit Arua City. These will be like benchmarks. So whatever would have been discussed and agreed upon in these two meetings, they will cascade what we've agreed to the other cities. Though the minutes are guided that each city will be handled separately, because each city has its unique and peculiar characteristics. So we are waiting for the ministry to come and kickstart that process. When you look at Arua City and other cities, but I'm not a spokesperson for other cities, let me just concentrate on Arua City. We have the old equipment, the old Chinese equipment, which was given like a decade back, and they are not quite strong. They were made for light works, not heavy works. Now when you look at our infrastructure, the road infrastructure, especially when you look at the peri-urban in Central Division and the rural part of Aivu, these roads require heavy machinery like the Caterpillar, the Komatsu, such types of Caterpillar, especially these Japanese good graders. So not having the graders has affected our work progress, and in most cases we begin late because we have either to borrow the grader from another district which also has roads, or to hire. So when you hire these graders, the money you would have used to put in the graders as fuel, you end up using it for hiring. So you find that the number of kilometers you would have used or you would have worked upon if you had your own equipment reduces. So it has affected.
And more in our stories for the evening. Some children living with disabilities are failing to access government programs due to the fear of being humiliated and embarrassed due to their condition. Gulu City only has 3 schools that provide friendly learning environment for children with disabilities. Stephen Okello from Gulu reports more.
I'm here at La Roe Boarding Primary School. The first site is a disabled pupils climbing the ramp to enter into a classroom for a lesson. This is one of the 3 schools in Gulu City that have a friendly learning environment for children with disability. In most communities across northern Uganda, stigma towards children with disability has kept many of these children locked up at home. Stigma can be defined as negative and unfair attitudes that a society, person, or a group of people have towards one another.
Professor Wellesley, the Queen herself. I am the most greatest person in this world. All these people you're seeing here, the doctor, the president, and the priest, I am the one who taught them.
High cost of scholastic materials is one of the key problems that children with disability face, especially those from economically poor families.
Actually, the challenge that we have, these materials, first of all, are very scarce in the market. We try to look for them, sometimes getting them is very difficult. 2, they are also very expensive. Like the papers, the braille papers, which they have brought, you find that if you are to get them in Gulu here, a box or a rim is at 350,000.
At Thumbs Up Academy, which is located along Juba Highway, Samuel Odwa is faulting parents for neglecting children with special needs. He wants all parents to grant children equal opportunities in life.
Those that come from the community, many are being left without proper attendance. Like we have a case in our community here, children with disability are not actually sent to schools. For those that are, some are trying to send them to school, still they lack our equipments, like the mobility devices. We have children that cannot come to school simply because they cannot walk, they cannot move, so they need to be supported.
With compassion, the Rotary Club of Chigo have visited 3 schools in Gulu that provide a good environment for children with special needs to pursue their academic dreams. The Rotarians are looking to lobby for scholastic materials in order to keep children with disabilities in school.
And Rotary Chigo it's more than we would expect. back in Kampala, we thought it was just topping up on what these children needed. But these children are really in need, and we've realized what we brought is insufficient. And I think we can do better as other members of the country and the Rotary groups out there.
There are 172,864 children with special needs in primary schools across the country, which is 2.0 of the total primary level enrollment and 9% of the overall children with special needs. Stephen Okello for Westnile Television, Nilecast.
And more in our stories for the evening. GIZ and Mooney University on Wednesday held a public lecture on sustainability leadership at Mooney University Science Block Conference Hall in Arua City with the purpose of building the capacities of institutions and the public in order to promote sustainability leadership through multi-sector approach in the Westnile region. Let's have more on that story. GIZ, together with Mooney University Faculty of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences and the Faculty of Management Sciences, held a public lecture on sustainability leadership at Mooney University Science Block Conference Hall in Arua City. The overall purpose of the public lecture is to build the capacities of the institutions and the public to promote sustainability leadership through the multi-sector approach in the Westnile region.
This sustainability program translates our aspirations into concrete goals and measures, and it helps us to find quantifiable indicators, clear responsibilities, and timetables. Thus, it not only serves as an orientation for all responsible units, but has also a binding character for the implementation of our sustainability goals. Outwardly, the program also reaffirms GIZ's commitment to sustainability and creates transparency. This is also a reason why we are part of international audit programs who are frequently coming and checking whether our achieved goals are true or not. In our reporting, we regularly inform on the progress of our sustainability program. The benchmark based on precise figures, we can measure ourselves against other organizations and increase our competitiveness. So we have also created a kind of CSH, which is a corporate sustainability handprint. That's a little bit comparable with the CO2 footprint. This gives us a chance in our programs and in the countries where we are working to measure our implementation of sustainability activities and how we are in line with the sustainability program.
The university secretary, who stood in for the vice-chancellor in his absentia, thanked GIZ for this engagement and used the opportunity to encourage students to attend the public lectures organized by the university and the stakeholders in order to acquire information that can be used as topics for research work.
Sustainable leadership is a leadership or a management approach where leaders seek solutions to environmental, social, or economic solutions to problems of the world. We have discussed a number of issues. We talked about sustainable leadership in the public sector. We talked about climate change. We talked about procurement. We talked about biodiversity. For those of you who are here for the first time, we are running 26 programs. Previously, we were having 14 programs only. But come this October, we shall have 26 programs. And it's important to note that 3 of our programs actually have a bearing on what has been discussed today. We are starting a bachelor's degree in procurement and supply chain management. And I think GIZ talked about their collaborative areas. One of it is procurement. And it will be nice, the lecturers who are here who are going to undertake these courses, if we can also invite some people, facilitators, when the program starts from GIZ, to see their perspective of procurement, how we can integrate it into our own curriculum, and how we can merge it with the reality of what is happening in the world, especially in regards to what we call sustainable procurement, that we want to be paperless. To our students who are here, next time inform those who are not here that this is a very important undertaking. When you hear of a public lecture, please inform your colleagues all to come. A public lecture is an open lecture, open talk that is given for purpose of disseminating information, advocacy, or for policy formation. So it's an open lecture that whenever you have the time, you should be able to attend. And from these public lectures, you can get a lot of topics for your future research. So it is very important that you encourage your colleagues to always come and partake of these public lectures.
I'd like to thank GIZ and Muni University for this engagement and collaboration, making Muni University a big learning hub in this area. Really, it's a center of excellency, and the knowledge we get here must be used and invested in West Nile. This is the West Nile we want. We need to produce more food, we need to protect the environment, we need to generate more income, and it all starts with a few ideas and then making the ideas profitable and marketable for everybody.
The participating stakeholders from the Office of the Prime Minister, GIZ, the Arua City Local Government, and the private sector planted 4 tree seedlings in closure of the public lecture on sustainability leadership. Okumuringa Christine for Westnile Television, Nilecast. And more in our stories for the evening. The Deputy IGG, Dr. Patricia Achan Okeria, has cautioned the elected leaders of the Office of the RCC in Gulu City to always work together in fighting corruption. That Dr. Patricia, who was in Namor district earlier on in the week, was there to launch the Development Displacement Impact Project. Stephen Okello from Gulu reports more.
Earlier this week, the Deputy IG, Dr. Patricia Acheng, was in Namor district to return back 80 million shilling. This money is part of the 1.2 billion shilling which was stolen from the Office of the Prime Minister in 2011.
It's a Dr. Deep project for the construction of the OPM staff quarters at the refugee settlement camp in Parabek, and also construction of the cultural site, conference hall at the cultural chief's residence here in Parabek. This money had been stolen by individuals from OPM. The Inspectorate of Government was able to recover the money, and we are now relaunching the project so that this money can be put back to good use.
Our presence in Namor was meant to relaunch the construction of the community hall and staff houses for OPM officials that was put on hold by the corrupt officials.
So where are you planning this today?
Why are they not here?
Because of the rain. How come you are here?
Dr. Patricia Cheng, who was monitoring several government projects during her visit to the district, also tasked leaders in Namor district to unite in fighting corruptions out of their district.
The technical team in the district and the leadership to be keen on monitoring and supervision of government projects. Because in most cases, when we are not keen with monitoring, you find that the implementing partners do their own things, and sometimes it gives leeway to people to steal. So in a bid to strengthen transparency, accountability and anti-corruption here in Palabek, Namor district, we are encouraging teamwork, we are encouraging coalitions, we are encouraging coordination, we are encouraging partnership and strategic alliance.
Christopher Mal, the chairperson Local Council 3 of Palabek-Ogili Sub-County in Namor district, says the relaunch of this project is a sign that their everlasting dreams of peaceful coexistence with the host community and refugees is now restored.
Simply because we look at 2 or 3 things. 1, peaceful coexistence between the host community and the refugees. Because I cannot even forget for saying these Palabek settlements are different from the other settlement in this country Uganda. Why? This is the settlement where the refugees and the host community are staying together in the same compound, because the land which has given to us these refugees, individual people are offered their own land to the refugees.
Lamour District Resident Commissioner Osborne Ocheng expressed his commitment in closely monitoring Dr. Deep's project and other government projects currently being implemented in Lamour District.
My mandate is to monitor all projects of government in the district, and will ensure that there is value for money, and will always coordinate with the IG to see that where there is a misappropriation of fund, actions are taken upon these individuals.
Dr. Deep is a World Bank funded project meant to provide peaceful coexistence between the host community and refugees in Lamour District by establishing a community hall and staff houses for OPM officials serving in the refugee settlement. Stephen Okello for Westnile Television's Nilecast.
And to end our Nilecast weekly news roundup only on Westnile Television, representatives of the different stakeholders of the public and private sector addressed the possible recommendation for charcoal burning issue that has led to the destruction of forest cover and green vegetation, causing drought and climate change in the region. The stakeholders are being urged to play their individual roles in addressing charcoal burning through sensitization of the communities, tree planting for charcoal businesses, and adapting alternative sources of clean energy like biogas. Let's have more on that story. During the public lecture of sustainability leadership at Muni University in Arua City, representatives of the Office of the Prime Minister, Arua City and Arua District Local Government, GIZ and the private sector discussed the causes, roles of stakeholders and recommendation for the issue of charcoal burning that has led to the destruction of forest cover and green vegetation, causing drought and climate change in the West Nile region.
How valuable our shea tree is. You see the famous Mustafa, they are complaining on the other side, the point I don't have. The first shea tree is being cut for charcoal and the fuel wood. The prolonged drought, the settlements and the bushfires, all these are affecting our environment.
Yes, charcoal burning is a solution to poverty in some of the communities in our region. But as we have also noticed, charcoal burning is becoming detrimental to our environment. So, how do we use our leaders to address the issue of charcoal burning squarely within the localities where our people come from? Because if we don't address that challenge, we are going to impede on the environment, which is supposed to be used sustainably.
This issue of charcoal burning, actually, maybe to be specific, I would highlight the statistics of Arua. Between 2000 to 2001, Arua lost about 13.5 acres of tree cover. That is about 12% decrease in what Arua has in form of tree cover. Majorly, it is because of the tree cutting, and we have seen the roles that the different actors play. Of course, the private and public sector inclusive. So the question is, it seems the local government is overwhelmed. Local governments have put in place several policies or ordinances. They've passed a number of them to control the issue of charcoal burning and reduce destruction of forests. But of course, as I've already explained earlier on, trees are still being cut, and even as we are talking right now, they're going to be cut. As an institution of knowledge, is Muni University doing something to provide alternative measures?
In this country, in Africa in general, we have the paradox of charcoal. Charcoal is one of the necessities and has to be used, and so it was predicted that we would have a fuel wood crisis in 1970s, but it has not happened. So as the infrastructure in the country improves, the areas where people obtain charcoal in Uganda increases, and we may even enter South Sudan. The charcoal now to the major towns comes from Karamoja, comes from Westnile. When the roads were poor, that was not the case. But I just want to say, charcoal is a sustainable resource. So we as a university can offer some of the solutions on sustainable charcoal. I know the Minister of Energy with other partners tried a project. We're implementing a project on green charcoal. So there are options on how we can make charcoal sustainable. We would also want to give policy guidance to government on how to switch the middle class to alternative sources of energy, such as gas and others. And so those are some of the ideas. And one of the things is, in the West Nile region, we can identify trees that can be grown for charcoal production. It has happened in other countries, and it's possible to make charcoal production one of the enterprises that farmers with big pieces of land can derive income from. We can discuss this further. But what local governments are trying to do to stop people from felling charcoal, in my view, is a waste of time and may not work for now, because people have to feed. When you stop charcoal from going to urban centers, it is the urban poor who will be most affected.
Certainly, as we said, we use biomass, and the charcoal is also one of those biomass products. And not only the urban poor use charcoal, even the fairly well-off people in urban areas use charcoal. And I've seen even in the rural areas it has moved. In this country, we have a lot of gas in the Albertine region, but it depends on the government. The government must invest in the technology to extract this and transform it into liquid gas, sensitize communities, bring the technology that can be used cheaply by everybody. In Kenya, they even have very small containers that can cook a meal, and when it expires, you go and refill. But here, the commercial companies selling gas, they use 6 kilos, 12 kilos, and anything bigger than that. So we need to find a way to encourage more people to use gas, and if our government can invest and subsidize the cost of gas, I think you will see less people cutting trees for charcoal, because then a policy will come and enforcement. Because if you enforce, you must have an alternative of what people will use. But we have to sensitize our people to start producing their own biogas at home.
Stakeholders have been urged to play their role in addressing the activities of charcoal burning through sensitization of the communities, tree planting for charcoal businesses, and adapting the use of alternative sources of energy like biogas. Okumaringa Christine for Westnile Television, Nilecast. With that story, viewer, we've come to the end of the Nilecast Weekly News Roundup only on Westnile Television. Thank you for being with us from the beginning of the Nilecast to the end of the Nilecast only on Westnile Television. Please stay tuned to the rest of the subsequent programs that may follow. My name is Okumaringa Christine. Have a good evening.